they win anywhere from $250,000 to $750,000. We just did a classic, the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, where the winner won $750,000. Now imagine, now 14 days later, the same winner, if he wins here, there's no guarantee because there's some really tough bodybuilders. But should he win today, then there's $1 million in 1 month. So imagine that I got $1,000 when I won Mr. Olympia, the last Mr. Olympia contest in 1975. And then in 1975 in South Africa, that's why I got into this bodybuilding business in the first place, was to go and do up the cash prizes. Now, they're winning $1 million in 1 month. I mean, think about that, how we have improved the sport and how the sport has grown in every direction possible.
I know it has changed so much. I mean, over 50 years, you have been doing bodybuilding. Obviously, in that time, there's so much more knowledge now. So what do you think, guys out here, you know, women and men who are bodybuilding now, what are they doing that's maybe better than when you were doing it at the start?
Well, the first thing I have to say is that I've been doing this for more than 60 years. I've been, imagine that. I mean, it's like, for 50 years we've been running bodybuilding competitions. In 1976, I ran the first Mr. Olympia. Then in 1977, Mr. Universe, and then Mr. International. I mean, every year for 50 years we've been running bodybuilding competitions, and it grew into this expo, and then we're doing it worldwide. So it has been very, very successful. But the thing that really was an explosion in bodybuilding was the women. Oh man, it was like, because in the old days, this is not something that women did, to go into work out in their body, because women said, oh, I don't want to get muscles, and I don't want to get this, I don't want to get... But they found out that you can actually train to stay fit. You can train to stay firm. So the women started getting involved. And I remember that I was like the one that promoted bodybuilding for men, and then there was, you know, we started, you know, competitions for women. I was the first one with a guy by the name of George Schneider in Pennsylvania. We did the first Miss Olympia. And from that point on, the bodybuilding amongst women grew. And then Jane Fonda came in, and she did the aerobics classes for women. And she did all those videotapes, how to stay fit for women. And she really was very, very helpful to get women to pay attention to their bodies and to say, you know, especially when she did this movie on Golden Pond. And she was standing there at the age of 50 with this bikini and looking great. So then people realized, wow, I can look like that when I'm 50 if I work out. So I think it created an explosion amongst women. And you know, I always feel that no matter what men do, women can do the same thing. And they just have to train differently. But you know, so I love the idea, and you guys should know that I'm a fanatic about equality. Because, but not just women and men, but in everything. In everything. To me, when a guy comes to me and says, I have a very successful gym, and I said, I'm so happy about that. I said, if you have such a successful gym, I said, you let people that are physically handicapped train and you are equipped for that. No, we don't do that. I said, well, I believe that everyone has the right to be fit. So if you're physically handicapped, you have the right to be fit and you have the right to join a gym and to work out. I say, do you let people in and give special classes for Special Olympians, for people that have intellectual disabilities? I used to be the trainer for not only the United States, but the world in powerlifting for Special Olympians. So I said, do you have any facilities? You let people come in? No, not really, we don't cater to that. I said, well, then you can't call yourself a successful gym, because then you're only calling yourself a successful gym financially. You maybe make a lot of money with the gym. But in our sport, everyone has the right to be fit. And we have to make sure that everyone has the ability to go to the gym and to work out and to get the food supplements and all of that stuff. So we have to think about that, because not everyone is, perfectly developed. So we have to give everyone a chance. And so I have seen firsthand how challenging it is for those people that had in Special Olympics to just get a job. I saw how challenging it is for them to get an apartment, to get insurance, to go and join a club. That's why my mother-in-law, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, started Special Olympics back in the 60s, so that those people that are intellectually challenged also have a place where they can do sports. And so to me, this is what this is about. Our sport is to be about equality. And the great thing about it is that the message of training is equality. Because if you go into a gym, the 200 pounds on the bench press is going to be 200 pounds for everybody. Think about that. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, if you're woman or man, if you're young or if you're old, if you're rich or if you're poor, that fucking 200 pounds is going to be 200 pounds. There's no break. And on top of it, you can't go and send someone else to the gym to train for you. Right? Like all the guys do, the executives, they got to call the flower shop and they say to the secretary, hey, get me some flowers for my wife for Valentine. But that's easy. But to sit down and to paint flowers, to make a nice card for your sweetheart, that's what I do. I'm a romantic person.
I love that.
I paint the cards, and I paint the Christmas cards, I paint the Easter cards. I'm not a good painter, may I remind you, but I at least try, right? And they love it. The kids love it when I do it for them. My ex-wife loved it when I did it for her. My girlfriend loves it when I do it for her. Everyone loves it. So I mean, it's like it's a good thing to do. So this is why I say the weights. When you go into the gym, it's for everyone. It's the same weight. So the equality is right there. This is what I love about this sport. Is everyone has to do it.
Yeah, I never thought we'd be getting a round of applause for you being a romantic today, but this is great. And
I always let a little bit of information about myself that no one knows.
Well, let's
So
see.
then
Let's see
the internet goes
what
crazy.
else we can get out of you in this interview. And
You've never heard the Romantinator?
no,
I mean, what's the matter with you today?
I'd love.
I made that up just now.
Well, I think we should go with it. Just in terms of training, because I'm sure there are some people here that would like to know what you do so they can see if they can match it. What would be like a leg day for you now?
I don't train legs.
Okay, there we go.
I bicycle every day.
That's it.
And it is the reason for it is because, 10 years ago I was told I should get knee replacements from all the skiing and from running and the squatting and the deadlifting and the stunts in the movies and all that stuff. So I destroyed my knees and my back. And you laugh, but I mean, just think about that. In Terminator 1, I said, I'll be back. Now I say, oh, my back. I mean, yeah, this is not funny, I'm telling you.
Thing is, I tell you what, some of the stunts you've done are definitely dangerous. I mean, what is the worst injury you sustained on set doing all these incredible stunts?
Well, there's a lot of stunts that stunt people do, especially if it's a stunt that...
Can you get a stunt double that even is the same size as you? I'm sure there aren't many of them.
Well, now, yes, it's easy. Because now I'm not that big anymore. But it's a very good question because I tell you, when I did Conan the Barbarian, I was like, the body was exposed almost at all times. So they couldn't find a stunt guy that had muscles or a muscle guy that could do stunts. So I ended up with like 90%, 95% of it doing myself. Yeah, there was one scene, no, it was two scenes actually, that a stunt person did. And the rest of it I did myself. That never happened again, because then later on in the 80s, the stunt people started really becoming more and more muscular, and they started training, and then it was easier to find stunt people that were doubling me. But in Conan the Barbarian, I mean, all of the stuff on the horses, I mean, I tell you, I fell off horses during the sword fights. I was trampled by horses, and I was getting into accidents left and right. I had, the first day, I had stitches right away on the set. They were stitching up my back because this wolf was attacking me, climbing up these rocks. And they let the wolf go too early, and he jumped me and pulled me off, and I fell into a rose bush, into a rock, and all of a sudden I had to be stitched up, and that rose thorns all over my body and stuff like this. And the director came to me, John Milius. He came to me and he said, Arnold, just so you know, pain is temporary, but the movie will be permanent. So that was his way of kind of calming me down and making me feel good. But I mean, was just the first day. It was like this all the time during the shooting of Conan. But now, they are very, very good stunt guys that are muscular, and that are in shape, and that my height and all that stuff. And, you know, now since I'm fatter, it's easier to find someone with a stomach. So it's not anymore as challenging as it used to be when you have 22-inch biceps.
I bet. You have mentioned Conan, and I'm sure everyone here wants to know, what is the truth? Is there King Conan coming? Are you going to be returning to that role?
Yes, it was... That is true, and you know, the movie wouldn't have worked if I would have done it 5 years after the first Conan, because the whole idea of King Conan is that he has been, for 40 years or so, the king, and he's older now, and he's not anymore in the shape that he was in his heyday, and now people are trying to take him out. And he's the king, he gets a little bit complacent, and he's tired of the job, and he wants to move on. And so there will be a lot of conflicts. You know, when you look at a movie like Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, it will be along the lines of that, and it will be with, you know, just extraordinary battles. And so, interesting enough that all of a sudden, the film studios feel like that just to do a sequel or to do a copy of one of my movies doesn't work that well. They've tried it with Predator, they've tried it with Total Recall, and they've tried it with The Running Man now, and all of those films, and they feel like that doesn't work. You know, we cannot replace Schnitzel. And so now they're coming to me after all these years, you know, and they say, look, we want to do you know, Commando #2, and we want to do another Predator with you. And we already hired the writer and the director for Conan, King Conan. Next year you're gonna go and film King Conan. We will be ready, the script will be written, it will be prepped, and everything will be ready to go. So next year we're gonna do King Conan. So that is a reality now. And I'm delighted about it, because for the last 10 years, I have been saying we should do King Conan. And we should really get a great, great script written, that someone that really understands Robert E. Howard, that understands the artwork of Frank Frazetta, and to really get into it and to continue on. And I want to have John Milius, the director of Conan 1, be maybe the producer of that. And so it will be really fantastic. And I think there's a huge, you know, audience out there that wants to see that.
I think so. It'd
Yes.
be great, won't it? Conan was obviously one of the big breakthrough roles for you. It really was. But which film was it that stopped people coming up and saying, "Can I have your autograph, Mr. Schwarzenegger," as a bodybuilder, and suddenly they were asking you because you were a movie star?